The lack of birth certificates among Indian children in Selangor gained attention this month among various social welfare organizations. They said that while many promises were made before the general elections regarding Tamil children without birth certificates, those who said they would address the issue have remained silent ever since. Last year, 13 students who failed to produce their birth certificates were expelled from the Sekolah Rendah Jenis Kebangsaan Tamil Valambrosa at Jalan Kapar. The plight of such children was highlighted on Friday in the local media when two siblings discovered they were unable to enroll at a primary school due to their lack of birth certificates. On Sunday, Malaysia Kini visited Gunasilan 7 and his sister Puvaneswari 8 at their house in Kapar, Selangor, together with Malaysian Human Rights Commissioner N. Siva Subramaniam. The Suhakam Commissioner said that by denying such children an education, the Education Ministry was indirectly paving the way for more social problems in the future.
Fundamental principle that is upheld by Suhakam itself is every child, whether it be Malaysian, in this case they are Malaysian, or any child who is in Malaysia should be in school. They cannot be in the house whiling away the time. While you can use documentation to stop them from going to school, as they grow up, they will be a national problem, like the one we have, street children in Sabah. They are going to be a problem for the nation. So, in the meantime, to get a birth certificate, it takes a long time. And when a person goes there, it takes a period of time. So, in the meantime, all these children should be given a right to education, which is enshrined in the CRC. And Malaysia is part and parcel of the convention that has been enshrined, and Suhakam believes that these children should be in school, not at home.
He said most cases of children without birth certificates were due to the negligence of the parents, as the children were born out of wedlock or due to traditionally married couples who failed to legalize their marriages. In the case of Gunasilan and Puvaneswari, their mother Susila said her husband had abandoned her and her 6 children after the last child was born.
Register பண்ணீங்களா கல்யாணத்தை? ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ண கோயில்ல பண்ணீங்களா?
பிறந்து ஒரு வருஷம் கூட இல்லை அவர் வெளியாயிட்டு. இப்போ நாங்கள் 2 பேரும் கடைசி பிள்ளைங்க.
கடைசி பிள்ளைங்களா? ஸோ மொத்த பிள்ளைங்களுக்கும் பிறந்ததா இருக்கு?
எல்லாத்துக்கும் இருக்கு. எல்லாம் ஹாஸ்பிட்டலில் பிறந்தவங்க, 2 பேர் வீட்டில் பிறந்தவங்க, ஒரு மகன் வேலை செய்கிறாங்க, மகனோட ஒய்ஃப் ஒருத்தவங்க வேலை செய்கிறாங்க. அவர் முடிஞ்சு பொடியும் 24 வயசு, அது பொடியும் வேலை செய்யுது.
Hoping that this issue is very what you call on a wide scale in Selangor. There are a number of children have been stopped because they have been receiving surat putli link from the JPS asking to stop children without BC, birth certificate. So it's only a mere documentation. We cannot deprive a child's education right. Beginning of this year, we have been receiving these sort of issues. When people go to register, births that has occurred outside, not in the hospitals, births that have occurred outside. So when we go for registration, Daftar Lewat, we ask for the Surat Nikah. And some of these mere ignorance in the Indian community, where some of the weddings are not registered, legally registered. So they find difficulties in obtaining, and these has entailed these kind of issues.
The Tamil Foundation and the Educational Welfare and Research Foundation of Malaysia called for a joint press conference to highlight the issue of Indian children without birth certificates. Among the questions they raised was whether it was true that the government schools had been instructed by the District Education Department to send home students without birth certificates despite they being already enrolled, and to refuse admission to new students without birth certificates.
They came out and said, no, we will not admit any children who don't have proper documents, or any children who were foreigners, Varga Singh. If Varga Singh, then there's a special procedure. They must go to Putraja and must get a special license. You need to pay a fee and then you come back to school, But children without birth certificate, no.
They said there was an estimated 40,000 Indian children in Selangor alone who do not have birth certificates, and questioned whether these children would be denied their right to an education.
You see, here we have a child who don't have basic, don't have proper documents. You cannot deny the child, and more often than not, you just go do a socio-economic analysis of these children. They will come from very socio-economically backward home. Single parent, no parent, orphans. So they are already starting their life in a very disadvantaged position. How can you going to punish them? So even that any policy by the government is a stupid policy. I think a time has come for the government to review such policies.
But again, after we believe, the Barisan lost quite a bit on the election, we feel they are victimizing. We feel we are victimizing the kids without the birth certificate,
Birth certificate has been a serious problem among birth certificate, IC and all that, been serious problem among Indian Slum. This is partly because of socio-economic background. They don't see the need to, they're not educated, they don't see the need to legalize a lot of documents and all that. Single parent, some got no parents and all that. It has been a problem. But what we are, these two NGOs, Tamil Foundation and EWRF, we are concerned about the children between the age of 7 to 12 who have been denied the basic education, the formative years, very, very important. First, we want to compile at least about 30-40 cases. We go to the ministry. Once we get a guideline, then we can disseminate this information to all the other NGOs. Okay, you got this kind of category of case, and this is how you should do. Just go to the nearest one. So we want to educate. First, we want to educate ourselves, but we want to have variety of cases. Now, we don't want to go with a hypothetical case. And at least now we got a case where the 3 children, they don't know who their parents are. How are we going to take care? And one boy looked like a Indian Chinese, So how are we going to differentiate this one? So we don't have any problem. So we're going to get all these cases. Let us solve about 10 different variety of problem, and then we go to street with this solution and let the people, So make it easy for everybody.
And the education, the schools can play a bigger role. They can encourage. They can, the headmasters, the school administration actually go around their area. Because every other corner we got schools, so they can move around and make a public awareness, and they can become an agent for registering these kids.
Actually, like Klang Valley, at least we get administrators calling us up and said, hey, we have got 2 children, who don't have proper this thing. Can you attend to them? So they connect their parents to us, So if only the other HMs and all that, not necessarily even they are not schooling, they can tell, hey, there are some children in our area. We think they don't have proper papers, can you do something? And I'm sure we will send our people there to see what can be done.
They also said the complexity of obtaining the documentation from the various authorities could be daunting to some of the uneducated parents. This was coupled with the lack of cooperation among the related government departments concerned, including the state education departments, the National Registration Department and the Registrar of Marriages, making the whole process even more difficult.
And we also want to work along with the the Department of Registration of Births and Deaths, with them, how they can speed up the legalizing or registering of these children and issue birth certificate. Because if we delay, 3 years goes very fast, and they'll be standard 6 UPSR exam, and they'll be denied of doing the exam. So, because the process is very intimidating process. I've done 1 or 2. And I tell you, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Even I send the lawyers, and even the civil society tend to forget. Unless they specialize in this particular area, they tend to forget. After 3 months, 6 months, then they go back. The officer might not be there to update you, and then they ask you to come for an interview. It's not an easy process.
If there is a will, it can be settled very easily. Say, if I am a headmaster, a parent come to me with this certificate. I tell the parent that I cannot register because you don't have a birth certificate. In the meantime, I get a form from Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara. I register the child for the birth certificate. In the meantime, the child can study. I say, this time you irritate people, you irritate the public. So this type of thing is not good for the government. So I hope common sense will prevail and let the headmasters do the job. The parents, a lot of them are uneducated who cannot do. You can deny him education, but at the end of the day, he will be a social problem. So you choose what you want. You want to help people, or you want to just chase them back home because they don't have documents.